Jack here of Articulate Warbling, and today I'm reviewing Polly McIntosh's directorial debut, Darlin.
So what do we know of her history?
Virtually nothing. She won't talk.
It's extraordinary. But no evidence of a family.
No.
Completely feral. It's incredible. Thank you, Lord God, for sending this innocent child to me, that she may be a testament to your kindness. Strengthen Sister Jennifer, that she may bring forth language from her lips. That this newborn soul, when obedient to you, can be changed with God's mercy. There can be no after without a before. I know where she is.
She is a follow-up to both Offspring and The Woman, two films out of which Polly McIntosh portrayed and starred as the woman. Characters based upon Jack Ketchum's and Lucky McKee, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Characters and the world that was established in the novels. And Darlin, what can I say? Sensational debut. Sensational. This isn't a splatterpunk film. This isn't a gory throwback. This is a very dense, extremely well-written film. It is a meditation on belief, organised religion, the methodologies of certain churches, certain masses. It's about the redemptive quality of belief. It is also about the corruption at heart of a lot of these institutions and what on the outside look like corporations. It takes the character of Darlin, of whom was introduced in The Woman. She was adopted by Polly McIntosh's Woman, and this is several years later where this young woman is pushed into a hospital by the woman, keeping a keen eye on her, and it is about a hospital that is funded and sponsored by a local church, and they see Darlin as a rare experiment, a rare emblem to take and use to the church's advantage. Coming into this, I had high expectations. I mean, you wouldn't, seeing this on a DVD shelf. Look at the awful cover. When what I'm going to show you next is what I assume the international cover. This is distributed by High Flyers Films. I've spoken about them enough. They produce awful movies, but they distribute very rare gems that have come out of the horror indie film scene. I feel this film, again, deserves better than High Flyer Films, but I'm glad that they brought it to the UK market. Polly McIntosh as director takes front and centre rather than Polly McIntosh as the woman. This film is a blend of drama and psychological thriller. The movie is very much pitted around the church, brutality of it mentally, also physically, the inherent paedophilic notion of it. This movie is more a commentary upon organised religion and the factions of religion than anything else, and it is a natural and very thoughtful evolution from the previous two films. Again, like before, these films could be watched separately, but what this film succeeds against the other movies is character development of the characters we have a bond with and an affiliation with. It is a driving force. This story is pitted in a church, an orphanage if you like, for young wayward girls. Of course, Polly McIntosh returns as a woman. She has a great affinity for this character, but she evolves it and also parallels it with modern day society's lower tier population. When we look at the character of the woman, she is primal. She is a wildling. Parallel that with modern worldlings, the true nomads of wealth, the homeless, the zany, the wayward, the mentally ill, of whom are cast out in society and left to rot on the streets. The woman finds her kinship and her people there. And there is a great differentiation between a cannibal and street homelessness, but there's a real beautiful union there. And also a lot of humour that is lacking from the two previous movies. And you think from being a very almost dour, extremely realistic portrayal of a redemptive story, it's about making a young worldling of whom came from a normal background per se. You have to watch the woman to understand how it wasn't that normal and how she is almost encouraged to the fore to find her humanity again, under the delusion and guise of it being through the strictures and the banalities of religion and Jesus Christ. Humanity, tenderness, tactileness is what brings Darlin to the fore. You see shades of that innocent, naive little girl in the previous film, and the actress who plays Darlin, I believe she's called Lauren Canny, is sensational. Yeah, sometimes there's moments where you're like, would someone who's an animal within a few months be able to learn to read and speak? You know, it's like you withhold some disbelief. This is pitted in an unreal world, but this film has more of a real world feel than Offspring. It's kind of balanced out with The Woman when it comes to reality, and it's the stakes of this character. Decent, genuine affirmation and union is what brings her to the fore, brings her humanity back, makes her the Darlin that of which she could have been, coming from having a normal upbringing outside of The Woman. But you also see that her loyalty and love was undying for the woman. Even though she was in a stable home, Darlin, in the film The Woman, she had more of a freeing life than that she would have been contained within. It was abusive mentally and physically and could have been sexually, and she was saved and shackled by a potentially on the surface better life, though deep down wasn't a better life. There is natural tendrils out that give mention to the previous film, but this film on its own is a deep meditation upon macabre, inherent issues in these types of institutions and projects, and the lead performances from all are perfect. Also the young girls who represent the orphaned, wayward children, as though kids in the making, or, you know, juvenile delinquents. This delinquency and this delusion on Darlin's behalf is that Jesus and the sanctity of Christ has brought her back to her humanity, distancing her from what she's become and malformed into with the woman. And then at the end, there's a kind of, you know, it isn't the light of God, it's the light of a woman. The reality that the woman offered her greater freedom than the life she would have had, as you could imagine, and as slightly hinted and alluded to in the movie The Woman. I love this. Pollyanna McIntosh has written a superbly strong movie, heavy on themes, on social commentary, vital issues. I loved it. Sensational, macabre, twisted, beautifully shot, and it is a perfect end to a really decent trilogy. But this one for me gets 5 stars. I absolutely adored it. There's minor quibbles contained within this film. Bad CGI, VFX blood spurts, but all of that is overshadowed. When the violence and the gore is introduced, it's kind of not force, but a natural inclination, a natural extension of what these characters do to survive. Fight or flight mode, you know, survival. There's a few moments where you're like, yeah, they're doing that for the fans of whom only came to see Offspring and The Woman just to see the guts and the gore and the spatter-plunk aesthetic. But I think there are a lot of a great essence and a credos has been lent to this world that Jack Ketchum and Lucky McKee have crafted, and Pollyanna as an actress and now a director has really stretched her wings and shown off this beautiful, very talented actress, as well as now filmmaker. I really am looking forward to seeing what else she does directorially. So Darlin gets 5 stars. I really recommend you seek it out. I loved it. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to like, to share, and to spread the love of articulate warbling.